Basic military training camps in South Korea have always been synonymous with discipline and seriousness. Every young man entering the military must go through this initial phase as an important step in their journey as a soldier. It was here that they were forged to master the basics of discipline, learn to strictly follow the rules, and mentally prepare for a barracks life that was much different from civilian life from the very first day. The schedule of the trainees was set in detail. At 5 in the morning, a loud whistle woke them from a short sleep. In just a matter of minutes, all should be standing neatly on the field in full uniform and ready to receive instructions. Life in the camp does not know the word relaxed. Every movement, from eating to marching to physical training, has its own rules. One of the culminating moments in basic training is the release ceremony. This event marked the end of an intense training period that usually lasted 5 weeks. For each new soldier, this ceremony is not just ceremonial, but rather a symbol that they have completed the initial stage and are ready to continue their duties in their respective units. On the day of the release ceremony, the atmosphere of the camp is always more solemn than usual. The field was filled with neat rows of participants dressed in full military uniforms. Their eyes are directed straight ahead, shoulders are raised, and the face is made as calm as possible. All movements are regulated by command. Even the way to raise your hands to salute must be simultaneous in uniform. Concentration is the main key. There is no room for the slightest mistake. The instructor's voice and the blowing of the trumpets that mark the parts of the ceremony serve as guides. Every soldier is required to maintain a posture, even resist the urge to wipe sweat or shift sore feet. Though in the midst of the seriousness, Cha Eun-woo, a member of the ASTRO group who is currently undergoing military service, stands with his division colleagues. As a public figure, his presence certainly attracts attention, even though he is now just a new soldier like the others. The public knows him as a calm and neat figure, but behind the uniform and rules of the barracks, he also feels the same little things as the rest of the participants. What is rarely known to the public, the solemn atmosphere in the camp does not always go smoothly without surprises. There are times when small, unexpected moments arise in the middle of a disciplined lineup. For some soldiers, the moment may be fleeting, but for those who experience it, the memories stick. That's what Cha Eun-woo experienced while attending the basic training release ceremony. Behind the firmness of command and the sacred sound of the trumpet, a simple incident almost made him lose concentration. The moment then, he told MJ, friends and colleagues Sagrupnya, with a tone amused. Eun-woo's story serves as a reminder that behind a soldier's stern face, there remains a human side that cannot be removed. Even in an atmosphere full of rules, laughter can arise because of completely unplanned things. This introduction is an early picture of how the training camp atmosphere is not only about rigid ranks and strict rules, but also a place where unique, funny, even unexpected experiences can occur. This is where Eun-woo's story about a small but intriguing incident begins. The ceremony of the release of basic military training always takes place with great solemnity. All participants stood in a neat formation, dressed in full uniforms with attributes that had been prepared since the morning. The instructors stand in front of the court, making sure every row is aligned, every distance is measured, and every participant maintains a posture according to the rules. That morning, the air was still cold, but sweat began to pour on the faces of the new soldiers. They stand straight, feet firmly on the ground, hands at their sides and eyes straight ahead. In the row, Cha Eun-woo stands with his division mates. He knew that this moment was not merely ceremonial, but a symbol of the end of an important phase in his mandatory military service. The mood is so serious. Trumpets sounded, accompanying the procession after the procession. Each time the voice sounded, the new soldiers straightened their bodies more and more, trying to show their full concentration. However, in the midst of that dignified silence, an unexpected event made the atmosphere different. Just as the sound of the trumpet boomed, one of the division members in the same row let out a fairly clear-sounding fart. The moment lasts only a fraction of a second, but the impact is great for those who hear it. Coincidentally, Cha Eun-woo was standing quite close to the sound source. He surprised himself, then tried hard to hold back the laughter. In his mind, he could only ask, "Did others also hear this?" The situation became difficult for him. The rules of the lineup prohibit any changed facial expressions. Every soldier had to maintain a calm attitude, as if nothing had happened. But for Eun-woo, the incident was like an additional test of concentration. He held his breath for a moment, trying to control his expression so as not to appear smiling. Meanwhile, the sound of trumpets continues, marking an important part of the ceremony. Everyone remained silent, no one turned his head, no one spoke. But within the ranks, there were probably a few others who also heard and held back their respective laughter. Eunwoo then recounts the experience in an amused tone. He said, "It almost made me lose my concentration during the ceremony." His voice came out just as the trumpet sounded. According to him, the moment was so well timed that it felt difficult to ignore. Although simple, this small incident gave a different color amid the seriousness of the military camp. For Eunwoo, it became one of the unforgettable memories of his training period. Why not? At a time when everyone was trying to show firmness and discipline, a natural event just appeared, making the atmosphere a little lighter. He then shared this story with MJ, his best friend and colleague, after the ceremony was over. In a casual manner, Eunwoo repeats the chronology of events, emphasizing how difficult it is for his to hold back laughter in the middle of the lineup. He wondered if the others around him were aware of it. For a public figure of Eunwoo's class, this kind of experience may have been rare for him before. Accustomed to performing in controlled situations on the entertainment stage, this time he faced conditions where there was no room to repeat, no camera to cut, and no musical accompaniment to mask the atmosphere. Everything takes place naturally without being able to hide. That moment proved that despite being under the strict rule of the military, there was still a human side that emerged spontaneously. No one can regulate when such things happen, and it is precisely there that lies the uniqueness of the experience that Eunwoo then tells with great laughter. The discharge ceremony of basic military training is one of the most awaited as well as the most stressful moments for new soldiers. That day, all participants who had undergone 5 full weeks of training stood in neat rows on the ceremonial field. Their uniforms looked neat, shoes shiny, and tense faces mixed with relief at having made it through a tough training period. Cha Eunwoo, who is now known not only as an entertainment star but also as a new soldier, stands out among the hundreds of other participants. Although used to facing the camera's spotlight, this time the situation is different. There was no music stage, no spotlights, there was only a wide field, strict instructors and colleagues in line who were equally trying to maintain concentration from the very morning. The atmosphere in the camp was noticeably different. The air, which was usually boisterous with the sound of whistles and shouts of instructors, was now filled with solemn silence. The soldiers stood firm, waiting for the command signal. As soon as the procession began, the sound of trumpets echoed in the air, accompanying the course of the ceremony. Each note of the instrument became an important sign, guiding the steps and attitudes of the participants. In the midst of that moment of authority, an unexpected event occurred. Just when the trumpet sounded, from one of the rows there was a fairly clear fart. The timing was so coincidental, it almost seemed to merge with the blowing of the musical instrument. Eunwoo, who was standing quite close to the sound source, immediately gasped in shock. He tried to restrain his facial expression from changing, but in his heart he felt an incredible tingling. For him it was like an additional test of concentration. Am I the only one hearing this? Or is everyone also aware? He thought quickly that in the rules of military ranks, there is no room to laugh or turn your head. Every soldier had to keep a straight look ahead, as if nothing had happened. But it is precisely that rule that makes Eunwoo even more difficult. He had to restrain laughter in situations where he could not divert attention anywhere.